This season, rather than madness, opening days, or taking a break, the world is frozen, silenced by quarantines, isolated by distance, and edging on panic. But while work for you may have changed, out here, we're still going strong. Our season is underway. The crops will get planted, the livestock will be fed, and your food will continue to be grown, just like it's been for generations. There's plenty to worry about. But out here, social distancing is our specialty. American agriculture farms on, today and tomorrow, for our family and yours.
Hello and welcome to Farm Journal Live. I'm Clinton Griffiths here in the Farm Journal newsrooms. Today we're going to continue to get you up to date on the latest happening in the coronavirus outbreak and its impacts on agriculture. But first, we want to start with some of the numbers from USDA's latest WASDE report. Those numbers out just a little bit ago. USDA putting ending stocks of corn, soybeans, and wheat all increased over the March report and are higher than trade expectations. Corn ending stocks now topping the 2 billion bushel mark. USDA increasing corn usage for feed and residual, but lowering its use for ethanol by 375 million bushels. Export expectations unchanged for corn, but lowered for both soybeans and wheat. We'll get into some of the world stocks here in just a minute, but let's bring in Elaine Cub, author of Mastering the Grain Markets. And Elaine, you went through this report. Your first blush, any big takeaways?
Well, the markets are really not reacting very strongly to it. We do see soybeans up 8 cents, but I don't think that's necessarily related to this report. I think the markets are understanding that the data that went into this report is sort of backward looking. You know, a lot of this is based on the March 1st grain stocks reports. So yes, even that was bearish, but most of the bearishness that we've seen this month or in the last few weeks is not even reflected in these numbers yet.
You know, as we look at some of the world stocks, they did make some adjustments there, both higher for corn and wheat, lowering world stocks for soybeans, down a couple, like 2 million metric tons. As you look at the big picture here, does that give us any guidance as we move forward?
Yeah, that is helpful. And I think that you're absolutely right to be looking globally as far as what is influencing these soybean prices. I mentioned that soybean prices are up today. If I was going to pick up a reason for that, I would look at the Brazilian currency. Their real is finally recovering off of a low. There was almost 5 reals to the dollar here just last week. So as that recovered, that allows global soybean prices to recover also.
You know, it's interesting, they lowered export expectations for wheat in this report, citing the relatively strong prices we've seen there over the last month or so.
Yeah, again, so that's the backward looking part of this, right? If we're basing this on March 1st, maybe that made sense. But as we go forward, we see country, you know, the way that people go to the grocery store and hoard wheat flour for baking, now that everybody's home baking, countries are also really coming onto the export market, trying to hold on to the wheat that they have or bring in as much wheat as they can to be secure, the same way that grocery shoppers want to be secure in their food supplies. Countries are definitely coming to the wheat market, to the U.S. wheat market. So that one is a really questionable bit to lower wheat exports. I think going forward, we're going to see that change.
You know, we talk about corn quite a bit here. Really, we've been focused on ethanol and the impact on our corn stocks and our corn usage. Your takeaway in this report from what USDA suggested, where they were, you know, lowering the amount of corn used for ethanol.
Yeah, so they lowered it now. It's 5.05 billion bushels, which doesn't sound that bad, but honestly, it could get much worse in upcoming reports. You know, if we're going to have driving demand has dropped, they say 80% in some regions. If that's true all across the United States, and if it's true for an extended period of time, 6 months, 3 months, who knows how long it is, I think there's room for more ethanol dropped to be in these supply and demand tables. But a lot of that is already priced in. Remember that corn prices already dropped 50 cents through the month of March. So a lot of that ethanol bearishness has already been priced in, and there may not be a big argument for cash corn to go much lower than the $3 where it is now.
Elaine, I want to look forward a little bit here. We are in the heart, or getting to the heart here of planting season. We're going to have a little bit of a cold snap come through the middle of the country over the next 10 days or so, but we've already seen planters and tractors out in fields and running and people getting ready. As we start to move forward, do we see anything out of this report or where we're sitting in prices right now that maybe start to adjust any of our acreage mix?
Yeah, prices, yes, report, no. I wouldn't base any planting decisions on these sort of backward looking numbers, which is not a criticism of the USDA. It's just the nature of this very changing environment we're in. But price wise, yes, I think you can't really base your corn planting expectations on March 1st corn prices. You've got to base it on what you expect going forward, looking at the scenario in ethanol versus the scenario for oilseeds and versus the outlook for wheat. Like I mentioned, there is some reason to feel that wheat prices as a staple grain should at least be stable through any sort of economic problems.
You know, Elaine, as we try to figure out what to do this year, you mentioned that things are changing so fast, and we know over the last 10 days or so, we've completely seen a lot of markets turn topsy-turvy here. How do you build a marketing plan over the next 6 months without knowing all of these answers, or do we just wait?
Well, no, don't just wait. I mean, do it the same way as always. If you see a profitable price, it makes sense to lock that in. And that this is usually the time of year when folks are doing that. This is the hot time of year to be locking in prices and to be looking for seasonal highs. And yes, a lot of that is going to be disrupted, especially in corn because of the ethanol scenario and the fuel demand scenario. And you have to also consider who you're going to be locking those prices in. This might be a year where it makes more sense to have independent hedges, independent means to lock in prices rather than depending on any particular buyer when we honestly don't know what the financial scenario of some of our customers will be 6 months down the road.
Absolutely. Well, appreciate the insights, Elaine. Thank you for joining us to talk about this latest report. Elaine Kump, author of Mastering the Grain Markets. We appreciate you being here. Let's get to some other news here. The coronavirus affecting McDonald's bottom line. The fast food giant reporting sales at restaurants across the globe open at least a year. They were down 22% last month. That drop led by a near 35% decline in internationally operated markets. Sales at U.S. restaurants open at least a year, plunging 13.4% last month. Nearly all of the company's U.S. locations still open, and of course McDonald's a big buyer of U.S. commodities. According to marketing and research firm Nielsen, U.S. retail sales of orange juice jumped about 38% last month when compared to last year. The Florida Department of Citrus reported a spike in demand for 100% orange juice in particular. Now, before this orange juice, sales had been on the decline. And Smithfield Foods packing plant in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, shutting down now for 3 days. This is a breaking story that follows reports of more than 80 workers testing positive for the COVID-19 virus. Smithfield says the plant supplies nearly 130 million servings of food a week, or about 18 million servings per day to the country. Smithfield employs around 3,600 people there in Sioux Falls. And first tweeted by Nebraska Senator Deb Fischer and then confirmed by Ag Secretary Sonny Perdue, USDA will expand its investigation of the fire at the Holcomb, Kansas beef processing plant last year to now include the market disruptions going on right now. The investigation looking at the disparity between boxed beef prices and cattle prices in the futures and cash markets. Now this week, Farm Journal launched the Farm On campaign aimed at supporting and cheering on everyone in the farming community during these tough times. We're going to go now to Southern Bell Farms in McDonough, Georgia, just south of Atlanta, as they show us how they are farming on.
Hey y'all, Farmer Carter here. Just want to give you an update on our 2020 strawberry season. Let's start with the strawberry plants first. They look wonderful. Lots of good looking blooms, the berries, everything looks great. It appears with the green berries that we have right now that we could start as early as 2 weeks with our harvest this year. Now I want to give you an update on the farm itself. A lot of folks have been calling us, asking us if we're going to even have a strawberry season this year with everything that's going on with COVID-19. Our plans are to have a strawberry season this year. We're still waking up every morning and we're putting our boots on and we're going to work and we're farming. That's all we know how to do. So we're going to continue to do that. That being said, we are following the guidelines set forth by the CDC, the Georgia Department of Agriculture, among others, because the safety of our guests and our staff is of utmost importance. So I guess I'm coming to you today just to tell you to hang in there with us. We're monitoring these things every day because it changes just about every day. So please know that we're here. We're not going anywhere. Like I said, we're going to continue farming every day. So y'all stay tuned. We're going to continue to give you the updates as often as we can as the crop progresses. So y'all stay healthy. keep in touch with our Facebook, keep monitoring that, our website. We'll have updates, and like I said, stay healthy and stay safe. And we look forward to seeing y'all here at the farm soon. Thank you.
Thanks to the folks there for sharing their story about how they will farm on. You can post your pictures or video on social media by including the hashtag FarmOn, or text FarmOn to 31313 and include the pictures or video there as well. We want to thank everybody for joining us for today's Farm Journal Live as we continue to try to keep you up to date on what's happening with the coronavirus and its impact on the agricultural industry. Of course, we'll continue our coverage online. You can go to agweb.com/coronavirus to see the latest in what's happening across the industry. Join us, agweb.com/coronavirus. Again, thanks for watching. Have a great day.